On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
The only one that really stood out was Alpha. JR, can you put it back up, please?
Sure can.
Thank you.
There we go.
So even looking at the beta, the gamma, the yes man at the office, that's beta. The omega, the odd one in the wolf pack, laid back, not chasing success or money, that's beta. The delta wants attention but can't get it, that's beta. The sigma, manipulative mastermind, he's super ambitious, know his own business, super smart, I can't read it in my bottom, super smart, extremely attractive, manipulative. That's beta. The gamma, omega, delta, sigma, they're all beta. And they're all characteristics that they have that no woman would want or respect.
All right, you guys, if you are just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef, Let's Talk. And again, get those likes up. Make sure you take a moment right now to subscribe to the channel. We're about to get ready to move on to our next topic, which is, before we do that, I'm going to put a chart up for you guys, and I want you to take a look at it real quick. We do have different traits. We have, the alpha, delta, sigma. We had the 6 traits. And my question is, why is, if you guys notice today up inside the manosphere, we are leading men to become alpha. We're not paying attention to some of the other personalities. We're just focusing on the alpha. And my question is, why are we leading men to be alpha and not anything else? I'm gonna start with you, Rilla.
Yeah, I think, the way that you pose that, I think is profound, because it's something I was thinking about. I've been doing a deep dive on other aspects of the manosphere for the last, I want to say, 4 weeks now. And there's different chapters. There definitely are men who, or there are definitely channels that lead other men to becoming alpha. I think that men do that because how we rank each other and how we see each other and how we respect one another, right? So when you see a person that's an A-alike, you respect them on that level. And, to be honest, you got some brothers that aspire to the level of alpha. So let's if I may, I know I can get long-winded, and I'll try not to be on this one, because people say, he don't answer the question or whatever. I think that people lead other men. What you see now, there's 2 different things that you see now in the manosphere. You see people that have taken the red pill and understand the benefits of the red pill, and is saying this is where we should have been whole time. This is where we should be. This is where all men should be. And what I would say for that, and I think what I watched another broadcast where Sinful to P talked about, where, in the ecosphere, the ecosystem of things, you need the other personality traits because it makes the world go round. So everybody's not going to be an alpha. And I don't know about, the other personality traits in terms of the delta, the sigmas, the gammas. To me, it sounds like something, to me, honestly, it just sounds like something that was made up, and people, gamma, omega, delta, sigma, all those things, it really sounds like something that was made up, and people will pick and pull from it. You know what I'm saying? This is what I identify with. This is what I don't identify with. But, when I think about, my uncles, my granddad, and my great granddad, they didn't say like, I'm an alpha, I'm a beta, I'm a this or that. What they focused on was being a man. What they focused on is being a man. And I think more than anything, whether talking about alpha, beta, sigma, gamma, delta, rho, whatever fraternity, whatever that stuff means, man, like, are you on your purpose? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? Are you impacting your family? Are you impacting your neighborhood? Are you impacting your community? To me, that's what's most important.
Danielle, the 6 male personalities, which we now have, definitely appreciate you guys for assisting me with that one. But you got alpha, beta, gamma, omega, delta, and sigma. And if you've been paying attention to what's been going on, including ourselves, we've been pushing men to make sure that they get into their alpha mindset, that they on a purpose and so forth. So I want to ask you, Danielle, why are we leading men to being alpha, in your opinion?
I think that our society, Western society specifically, is in crisis socially, specifically for men. I think a lot of times when communities and societies are in crisis, there's a swinging of the pendulum that happens to balance things out and to overcorrect things that aren't being addressed. I think that if you look at statistics, men's happiness has been declining since the 1920s. And you're seeing this globally as things modernize over time. And women are they're closing the gap on that. They're becoming happier now with their modern conveniences. And I think men are starting to see that, and it's going into like, oh shit mode. Like, okay, it's getting to the point where we're just going to lose togetherness if we don't do something extreme or do something bold. And I think it's not enough for a lot of people who are trying to rectify and correct the situation of what they consider beta males and men who are, how that manifests is high suicidality, high depression rates, high crime rates, things that are actually affecting our men and affecting our whole society. I think that it makes sense why the goal is leadership, period. And we can't look at all the other, because I was reading the list and a lot of these things seem similar. Like Sigma seems similar to Alpha, but the thing that seems to be missing is the born leader component. And I think our community, our society, Western society, is yearning for male leadership that is effective. And that's why we're just going for the Alpha.
Okay. Courtney, the 6 male personalities. Why are we leading? And I know you heavily into the manosphere, which we definitely appreciate that. But why are we leading men to become alpha? And again, I know people may say, I hate the labels, I hate the terms, but if you look at it, everything has a label, everything has a term. This is how we're able to put people into category, to be able to describe who people are, characteristics and so forth. So I think don't get so hung up on the name and the label. Understand like what we're saying when it comes to male nature and female nature. But in particularly, we're talking about the male and leading them into alpha. Let's talk about that, Courtney.
Yeah. Well, I will say with Danielle, I don't think that women are happier. I think women are sad, depressed, drinking more.
There's biases in those statistics. You can't always read them directly. You know what I mean?
Right. But I definitely think when you talked about the pendulum changing, I don't think women are happier. And I think men are now leveling up. They're not, focused on women. They're focused on their sales career and becoming leaders, because they know all those characteristics of an alpha man will bring women. So their focus is rechanging. And I think women would appreciate and want alpha men. We want men to be born leaders. And out of all those characteristics, the only one that really stood out was alpha. JR, can you put it back up, please?
Sure can.
Thank you.
There we go.
So even looking at the beta, the gamma, the yes man at the office, that's beta. The omega, the odd one in the wolf pack, laid back, not chasing success or money, that's beta. The delta wants attention but can't get it, that's beta. The sigma, manipulative mastermind, he's super ambitious and on his own business, super smart, I can't read it in my bottom, super smart, extremely attractive, manipulative. That's beta. The gamma, omega, delta, sigma, they're all beta. And they're all characteristics that they have that no woman would want or respect. And nobody want a yes man. No, a woman wants a man that's leading and like tell you no. So yeah, I think every man should be striving to be an alpha man. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be on your purpose. You will be a leader. And you don't have to worry about chasing women because they're going to be chasing after you. So it all works for the good.
Okay. 6 male personalities. Why are we leading men to become alpha? Let's talk.
I agree with what Danielle was saying earlier. Like there's kind of this mode where people are kind of trying to figure out what's going on and just go to like these extremes because there's things that are happening and people are in this like desperation situation. I think the reason that people pick alpha as the one is because I think Chicago was saying earlier, like that's the standard that men hold each other to or something like that. To me, those labels just don't matter. Like I don't care about them personally. Because at the end of the day, it's like, what are you doing and what are you getting done? Versus are you an alpha or are you a beta? Like there's tons of alpha men in prison right now, lots of them, but like, okay, they are unavailable. Like they're locked up. So like, is it like, man, we just need to go find these alpha men? Like it doesn't matter alpha versus beta. It matters what are you doing in your day-to-day life, because everyone's not going to be an alpha. They're just not. I don't care how hard you try. Even the little chart you brought up, it said born leader. Everyone is not born a leader. I don't care how much you try. If you are not chosen by your peers as the alpha, you're not the alpha. That's not how that works. So
You are so off. Oh my God.
You
can
can
never be more off.
alpha.
You can be taught to be a leader.
You can never be more off. And it's so funny because you don't subscribe to these labels.
Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you're the alpha male in a group. That's not what that means.
It's so funny because you don't subscribe to these labels. But the interesting part about it is that you wouldn't talk to any of these other type of men because you've admitted it. You've admitted it regularly, repeatedly, and you talk about how you would talk to only this type of guy, and that type of guy more closely aligns with being an alpha. So what are we talking about, Kay?
What does that have to do with?
You just said you didn't care about any of these labels and all of this other type of stuff, but you wouldn't align yourself in a relationship with a guy that is not a part of that label. What are you talking about?
But does that mean that the label matters, or is just the tendency of what a person?
Why wouldn't it matter if you the one that said that I want this type of guy? It only matters if you want him, or it don't matter. What are we talking about?
What we're talking about is that the label itself doesn't matter when we're talking about the 6 male personalities. Like, I don't walk around in my day-to-day life like this man is an alpha, this one is a gamma, this one is a beta, this one is a blah, blah, blah.
You don't have to, but they hold characteristics. Just like I don't have to walk around with the label of being a woman, but you obviously see I'm a woman. But labels are important because they identify you and you understand the characteristics of that thing. So if I say I like an alpha man, he's not walking around, I'm an alpha man, but he's holding those characteristics of being a leader.
Let me bring it all the way back down. Let me bring it all the way down and break it. Hold on, wait. Let me bring it all the way back down and break it down as a little child. Are we all just humans, or are you a girl and I'm a boy? Like, do we need labels to be able to separate and identify and even have a conversation about what it is that we're talking about or who we talking about? We all have a label. I have a name. That's a label. I'm Anton. Like, Anton. Why wouldn't we?
Here's the other side of that, though. And this is what I would inject into the conversation. When I think about the Jeff Bezos, when I think about the Steve Jobs, when I think about the Bill Gates, Steve Wozniacki or whatever, Steve Ballmer, these are not men that we would classify as alpha, although we would classify them as high value men. And so the thing of it is, everybody is not created to be an alpha. Zuckerberg is not somebody that you would consider an alpha, although you would consider him a high value man. And if you're put in a room with any of these guys, any of these late bloomers, or any of these guys, you're going to respect them on a particular level based on the access of resources that they have, the name that they created for themselves, and the empires that they've built.
Exactly.
So what I focus on, I'm just talking about for me. What I tend to focus on and what I see a lot of pushback on, I get it with all the alpha, beta, this, kind of third. To me, some of it's entertaining. I enjoy Jesse Lee Peterson as much as the next person. But when you get down to it, what are you doing? Anton, you talk about all the time. What are the results? That's all we focused on. That's all we focused on. And
No, but the results come along with certain characteristics and personality types. And often at times, see, here's the key. There's plenty of smart people that if they would have just got to the point first, right? If they would have developed this program first, they could have very well been in that same position as Bezos or whatever, right? Also, on top of that, we know rich simps. So just because you're able to get to the bag does not necessarily mean that you're alpha or that you're not a simp. Often at times we only try to associate resources in order to be able to identify whether or not somebody is or isn't a specific type of way. But that's not necessarily true, and that's why we have to have context. It's still a simp just because he a rich simp. And so my whole point then becomes, if a guy does not necessarily have the wealth of being a millionaire, but he's the leader in his community, does that make him any less alpha? No, it
That's
absolutely does not.
No,
But
that's
my
not
point,
what
but my point is that no. But hold on, I'm not associating only resources and identifying what an alpha is, but I am saying that labels are necessary because, for example, you can say Malcolm X was an alpha man. Was money the foundation or the primary driver behind what he was doing? No. So when we use these examples and we say Jeff Bezos or whatever, so on and so forth, you can separate certain people within that group. It's very well documented that Steve Jobs was an alpha, that Wozniak was a real beta, but Wozniak got super rich and became a billionaire because he associated himself with Steve Jobs that pushed him to be successful. If Wozniak had never met Steve Jobs, we would never have even mentioned Woz's name. You see what I'm saying? So my point then becomes the labels are necessary, but it does not necessarily only mean that you attach it to people that got wildly successful or rich. That's all I'm saying.
No. And I don't listen. This is what my retort would be to you. Are the labels necessary? Wozniak would have became
Yes.
he was. Wait, listen to me. Wozniak would have been who he was based on his alignment with Bezos. Pippen would have been who he was based on his alignment with Jordan. Ballmer would have been who he was based on his alignment with Bill Gates. Did they need the alpha beta label to determine their destiny and being in their purpose? Because those guys are all still in their purpose.
Well, here's the thing, though. We're going to label them no matter what. If we don't label them alpha, beta, we're going to label them weak, pushover, emasculated. We're going to label no matter what. The alpha, beta label more or less summarizes a group of characteristics by which men subject themselves to in order to exist in society. There's men that's going to pander and agree with women, and they're never going to take a position, and they never going to have no backbone because they always trying to get a like or get some women on their side or make sure that women agree with them so that they can try to get in the friend zone and never get to what she got in between her legs anyway. But it makes them feel good. They want to be accepted. They want to be the in crowd. They're going to go in high school and they're going to dance real hard, or they're going to jog up next to this. Like, we know these guys and we label them in order to be able to identify and separate, or even create teachable moments to help our sons, our daughters, the people that come up after us, and give them some insight into what you want to identify as or what you want to stay away from. So labels are always going to exist. We might as well get used to them, embrace them, and start to help cultivate exactly what those labels are instead of trying to push them away and say, let's kumbaya, everybody can do what they. No. That's not how society works.
No, and 1000% I agree with you on that point. 1000%.
It's just that, okay, yes, some labels matter. I'm not saying that no label that exists matters. But if we're gonna say, like, let's say hypothetically, I don't know what you think, but let's say Jeff Bezos is a beta. Who cares? Why would that matter?
You
Tell me how
care
that
because
works.
you would never want to talk to a beta, and you already said that you wouldn't. And so we closely identify what we do in
Do you
society
think
with the results that come
that
along with.
do you think
Okay.
that if a woman is single, that she's not gonna talk to Jeff Bezos if he pulls up?
She's not
Why
going to
are we
talk to
using
Jeff
him as
Bezos of. Wait. Here, I'll answer that question directly. Jeff Bezos of today or Jeff Bezos of 20 years ago?
Right now, if we say that Jeff Bezos is a beta, he's just a rich beta, you think which woman's gonna turn Jeff Bezos down?
That's
Didn't
you're
he
not
get
answering the
divorced?
question.
Didn't he get divorced?
I said Jeff Bezos now.
Okay, Jeff Bezos now, but it doesn't mean that women don't associate themselves with betas also, because women are hypergamous. They're not necessarily entirely paying attention to just the label of alpha or beta. They're paying attention to what they can get out of this situation. But wait. Here's the thing though, Kay. Okay, but here's the thing though. It does not mean that women don't secretly, regardless of how much money that a man has, still have a desire for an alpha, regardless of who she's currently associated with. It happens every single day. So it does matter. It matters.
I don't know. That's conjecture.
How don't it matter? And you don't want to be with one. You don't want to be with a beta. What are you talking about?
I can't speak for everyone.
I think it's dangerous because if you look at the graphic, I think it might have been made by a woman because next to beta it says ideal husband type.
I
So
think that.
there is a agenda. There is an agenda going on. If you look in our media, TV shows, whenever a man is exhibiting alpha-esque qualities, a lot of times it's backed up with, oh, that's that machismo bullshit. You know, it's discouraged actively. So if it's not effective for having healthy relationships, that's a dangerous thing that's happening.
I mean, but think about it though. Think about it.
That's why people just doesn't matter.
Think about it. How many people in history, whether it be our community leaders or whatever, whether you go all the way back into some of the people some people that believe and follow biblically, how many people are they following that's absolutely beta? What woman are you going, or do you know that? And I'm not talking about women that settle for betas. I'm talking about women that follow. What woman you know is trying to follow a beta? Okay, that's all I wanted to know. We can keep going.